Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a brand new week on the KLPGA Tour. This is event number 14 of the 2025 season, the McCol Mona Yongpyong Open with SBS Golf. We have 1 billion up for grabs this weekend here at the Birch Hill Country Club. We are coming to you live from Pyeongchang, pardon me, of course. We are very excited for this event, no doubt about it, with another jam-packed field, abbreviated, of course, with it just being 54 holes. And we know that there is a little bit of history in this event that we are certainly excited to see built upon. We are nearly 1,500 meters above sea level. It is a mountain known as Pawangsan. It is the 12th highest in the nation. It is a legendary mountain in lore, Korean lore, that is. And with that, well, you think about legends, you think of some of the players that have won this tournament. Ko Jin-young, Chae Jin back in 2022. We also saw a wire-to-wire winner in Im Jin-hee. But we'll start today with Pang-Shin Shil. She's playing a 54-degree wedge, 92 meters. The approach over the sand, just past that middle cut of the bunker, and is able to land that comfortably in play towards the back fringe. We'll continue to see increased investment in this tour. Another 200 million added to the event to bring it up to 1 billion. Of course, it is all the more enticing for the field to throw their collective hats and visors in the ring. Kim Min-sun 7, she's 2 under after 6. It is a 79-meter approach. And she goes just beneath the pin and will roll it to about pin high. That is a wonderful golf shot to set up what should be an easy birdie. So those are two members of our featured group that we will of course follow all the way in. We will also be keeping a very close eye on this group. It is a group that contains Chae Anu, who is at -5, a wonderful first 8.
Sure.
5 under has her 3 off, a 3-way tie for the top spot. Chae Bun, Lee Soon-yeon, and Coach Yu all in the clubhouse with 64s. Lee Young was just left of the fairway. This is her approach from the rough. A little bit extra speed. Should be second closest to the stick once all the approaches are said and done. Yoo-hyun Jo, meanwhile, 14 meters to go short on the par 5 after 2, though. So this is a chip for eagle. Weight-wise, she couldn't ask for a whole lot more than that. That is a no-doubter when it comes to the birdie. That section of green, not particularly challenging either. A little bit of break, but nothing she can't handle. Kim Min-byul putting at 9. This is going to break hard left and pick up speed. Judged that really well. Unfortunately, there won't be anything to show for it.
Oh.
And now Pang-Shin Shil, downhill 5.8. Should be a little left to right. There it comes, great putt. So that starts us off 1 for 1. We should see a series of them fall. Yoo-hyun Jo now for 2 under. She worked hard for that one. Couple of mega shots to begin the hole. 14 and then less than 1 and a tap-in birdie. Only 461 meters this 8th hole, the par 5. It is attackable. Yongpyong and company will head there next, but they would have been hoping to head there with an improved score. And 2 putts gives her the par and acknowledges the cheering support just off the green. Back with Cheyanu for 6 under. She's pulled it though. Bit of a head scratcher. That certainly wasn't what she was expecting, nor were we. And Kim In-sun 7 for 3 under. Just a little tap, that'll play. Good birdie. An overcast day and 23 degrees up here in the mountains. Conditions wise, well, you don't mind a little bit of cloud when you got to be climbing up and down the hilly terrain of this Birch Hill Country Club. I'm always enamored by the descriptions of the courses from the architects. This one might be one of my favorites. Beautiful pine trees form a magnificent fortress, and Birch Hill reminds one of the fields of heaven as it stretches all the way to the horizon. Not too bad at all. Well, here in Pyeongchang, site of the 2018 Winter Olympics. Quite a few action sports and maybe different hobbies to practice when the golf season's over, but we're in the peak of the summer. June 27th, start of another weekend, and still over half a season to go. Yongpyong at this point in the campaign at 4th on the money list, trailing only Lee Dong-eun, Hong Jung-min, and EA1 with 431 million, one that she has collected this season. No Seung-hee knocking on the door for 5th at 402. Peng Shin-chil, the 3rd best scoring average this season, 70.1875. Looking for a big start to this par 5 and doing well, just heading towards the right side of the fairway. That'll give her a nice angle down for the 2nd. The aforementioned Yongpyong is next. Here she goes. Gets a kick off the hillside, almost a grass bunker, that little crater as it were. She skips out of the worst of it, but she'll have to start scrambling. Over to 10, Soa Jean with the approach shot as she begins the back nine. Heads to the extreme back left corner of that green. In fact, we'll stop on the fringe. And Yongpyong over par, +1 after 7. Trying to change that, and with backspin and control with a wedge like that, she should be able to rediscover that even mark. Yongpyong also looks just off the fairway. It'll be 62 meters for her. A lofted approach. Sits and sticks, joining her group mates in that vicinity. And now McCol. Now this was her 4th, which makes it all the more frustrating that she still has that much to do with a putter. A hole where birdie should be all but a certainty, and a par is very much in question. Jo drives past the bullseye in the fairway. This is her 2nd at 9. Showing really good control. We have 132 players in the field this week. Che Reen, though, she did withdraw from the tournament, and that brings us down to 131. From there, 107 players at even or better, which leaves us with very few over par in the early going. We can see just how close Yongpyong came to disaster with the bunker just behind her heels. Ultimately, though, the lie wasn't particularly treacherous. It was set up decently well in the rough, and with 2 shots, has a nice clean look at the green. Or to 8, McCol for a par. 6.4, and this is going to move. Starting under, slipping above, and speed-wise, she was perfect. Tough putt to read, and she suffers the consequences. It's a bogey. So Jean had an option here at 10. She's going to putt. Down the hill from the fringe. It will ramp up at the end, just off. Now Amy Jung to get back to even. Oh no. Catches the outside of the cup and goes for a ride all the way around and popped out the other side. She'll have to be okay with par. It's a frustrating one, no doubt. Yongpyong now. Downhill putt to start. Just about there. Couldn't quite place the wedge. .206, keeping Sun 7. That's all that she has left after the tee shot at 8. She's just about on the cart path, and we'll be playing this uphill. Doesn't even take a full swing. Runs it all the way down the fairway. Too much speed to stay in the fairway and nowhere near enough to reach the green. She's onto the beach. .179 for Pengxin Shield. 10 meters uphill as well. She also goes for it. She also ends up off the green. Now, we don't know just how close to the bunker that's rolled. She'll be hoping that the tall grass maybe helped her hang on. Then again, depending on the angle, she might not mind being in the sand if she's going to be in that spot. Yohyun Jo looking to go out with a 33 with this putt for birdie. She really lit it up. The back half, turned a corner. First 4 holes, all pars, 5, 8, and 9 birdies. She's playing some aggressive, confident golf, and it's showing up on the scorecard. Tricky one this for Moon Jung-min. Nicely read, nicely executed. Just enough of a right to left fade, down for her bird. Young keeps the birdie party going. 1 under after that effort. Young's third on the par 5 now. Bit too much club. She almost landed perfectly parallel to the flag. Now she is going to get some help here. Deceptive downhill on the backside of the pin. That'll work out okay. Top of one of the waves, Kim Min-byul goes for it all with the woods. Good shot, might be selling that short. What an effort. 499 meter par 5 to start the back 9. She has that for an eagle. Incredible power, equally impressive control as well. in a great spot. Same can't quite be said for Kim Min-sun 7, can it? Still get up and down for the birdie. Let's see how step 1 goes. Gentle pitch, a little bit more left of the flag than would have been ideal. She can work with that. That's manageable. That is immediately succeeded by Pungshin Shiel. No such luck. That's well past. Check back in at 11. So Jean, left of center of the fairway, only just 114 and a front pin placement here on the par 4. 8 yards off the front edge. Couldn't really have arrived in a better spot on the green. Depth-wise, she was perfect. Min-kyung just got the playbook. Our selection is a 9-iron, 111. Might just be a little left as well. Pin high, good shot. Really, with an almost absence completely of the wind, these pins are very attackable this afternoon. Pungshin Shiel, the least probable of the 3, and she does end up a bit short. .4 with a little left to right break. Oh, fine line. She plays, grazes, doesn't get enough of it. Quick reset then and a tap in for the finish. She is a fan of the winged variety by the looks of it. Everyone wants to get up close and personal with these pros. Gangji's son, even after 9. Away she goes with the entirety of the front half before her. Kim Sun 7 can have the distance from even to the top with the birdie. She's expecting this to go a little bit right to left. Ultimately, the break was the opposite way. Left to right needed to be about a foot on the other side of the hole, and she would have been there. Now Moon Jung-min, that's gonna go. It's a nice pickup for her. Cheonu, this is her third par 5 10th. A little quick, but not too shabby. Tip of the cap to acknowledge the supporters who acknowledge her efforts. You can tell that something's not quite right with the way she's moving around and all that kin tape on her knee. Makes these mountainous courses all the more challenging. Coming back right, hanging on. Just long enough. Pak Bo-kyam bounces back from the bogey at 8 and hits the turn, tied for 26th at 3 under.
여기 안쪽으로 지나가자.
Look of frustration and silent communication between golfer and caddy. How did that one not fall? Is the gist. She's wearing a smile despite the frustrating outcome. This isn't frustrating in the slightest. Unsung birdie's 9, goes to 2 under. Really nice putt. Not much more than a 5-footer, but an awkward one with the break. Big blast to the driver to get the final hole of the front 9 underway. Unable to keep it in the fairway as that cuts across and ends up in the second cut. Kim Min-byul, after a marvelous second shot, setting up a putt for eagle. Want to suggest she rushed through it, but that is an almost inexcusable miss from that close. A big opportunity for a player who is stuck at 1 under. No issues for Kim Sun 7. Navigating that drive, she is comfortably down the middle of the fairway. Well, we have a winner. Right into the middle of the social contribution zone. And we'll see our charitable total increase for the week. Celebrate them when we get them. Unlike Kim Biel here, who will have a tempered celebration. She has started each 9 with the birdie, but she knows that should have been more. On the green at par 3 and in a line in behind.
Okay.
Back right pin location. Back left arrival for Yongpyong on the par 4. It's really leaning towards 2-putt territory. Next up at 12, So Jean with a 7-iron in hand.
Yeah. Go.
She is short. Might have. Oh, on second thought, I was going to say maybe she would have preferred the 6 in hindsight, but that's not a bad spot on the fringe to be. It's a 50-degree wedge for Pengxin Shil as she rides the line just to the left of the trees and sits perched up looking down at the flag. Second for Kim Sun 7. Much deeper approach. Gets on the brakes pretty quickly though. Well, with that, let's take a break. 2:35 p.m. local time. Here at the Mona Yongpyong Birch Hill Country Club, where Chae-Bun, Lee Seung-yeon, and Ko Chi-yu are our 3 leaders at 8 under, the opening round 64s. This is the McCol Mona Yongpyong Open with SBS Golf, and we'll have plenty more after a quick break. And welcome back. A very good Friday afternoon to you all. Thanks for joining us on the KLPGA Tour.
나이스 파! 더 갈 필요 없어. 더 갈 필요는 없어.
So Jean, she is just short of the 12th green. She's still gonna putt from the other thick fringe. Gets most of the way there, but will still require one more tap. There we go, Young. This is birdie. Take a minor miracle. She was guessing just as much as the rest of us after the release of that putt. Another one that required a high degree of execution, very little room for error. Speaking of error, this is unpleasant, to put it mildly. Yu Hyun-jo went for it with her second at 10 and ends up in the thickest rough I've seen in a minute. Blasts it out, kicks off the hill, and that looks like it's wanting to depart to the backside of the green. It's a long way off. That will be the putt for birdie. Starting this well right, but not enough. Drops off as really she was setting up the par. Try to escape unscathed is the plan after the approach. 107 Cheonu on the par 4. Down towards the middle with the slightest of tailwinds. Young needs this to stay at 3 under 5 back. There it goes. Good putt. Good save. T27 after 9. Bogey free, a lot of pars on the way in. This is pretty remarkable. A soft pitch up using the wind with a little boost. She could finish that off blindfolded. Kim Min-sun should be able to say the same here at 9. The same score, Ziga Young at 33, and it's there. Birdies at 2, 4, and 7 pars on the remaining 6 holes. And a 10 Yu Hyun-jo for a birdie. Down it comes. Pretty solid effort, all things considered. And now Cheanu. It's inching closer and closer, but not quite the speed. No drama off the tee. Straight shot at 10 to the fairway. Peng Chil hoping for a much more productive back nine. Starts things off. That's a solid drive. Left just one. And every member of our featured group is away. Let's go to 13. Perfect location for that drive. All the way right on the dog leg left. And Pak Bogyam also with a roll of the dice on her second shot here to the par 5. Ends up in the sand, and that is disastrous. How has she done that? Immediately, she gets some help going to look, but she must have caught that sweeter than anything. She hangs her head in some understandable frustration. ENG2 is even after 10. This is her second on the par 4. Moving back right towards the pin and executing one of her top shots of the afternoon thus far. Landing on the green with a thud and stopping almost immediately. So Jean and her 9-iron. Got about 5 meters extra depth and be in a pretty solid spot. Improving upon EJ2's approach slightly, Pak Bok-yum fortunately has found her ball. Well, not much more to say that her body language doesn't shout. It's becoming a bit of a nightmare hole. Yongpyong in an 85-meter approach at 11. Gets a little bit of spin. We'll roll her down the hill just right of center. 3 very workable putts for birdie. And Imi Jung trying to get to even, that'll do it. How about one better, an eagle? It had been since hole number 5 since she was able to positively, affect the score, and does so in dramatic fashion, holding out from off the green. That's a really, really good shot with the pitching wedge. Flying a little under the radar, Yongpyong, who is only 3 back. She's above the pin, runs that down the hill, but not quite on line. It takes 2 putts to get to the end. That will be par. Breaking left to right and moving just at the perfect time. She'll take that birdie and be on to the next. Narrowly avoiding the bunker, but to the right of the green and down in the rough. Depth-wise, that should and could have been a serviceable putt. She was misaligned Going for it with the second. Yongpyong doing the same and rolls all the way off the back. Another one where distance was good, accuracy the weaker portion of the formula. Gen 2 is under par. Wonderful approach, simple finish, all good things. So a Gene and 14 with the driver in hand. A+ start. Let's see how she picks up from there. Well, still 3 at the top and 3 tied for the next best score. That's 4th. Choayon, Hanchin Sun, Kangayol with 65s for 7 under. So Ojin is in the best position of anyone still out on the course, along with Chae-Ming Gyung on page 1 of the leaderboard. We'll take a break and be back to Birch Hill in just a few minutes. And welcome back. Our coverage of the 14th event of the KLPGA Tour season continues. And we resume with Kim Min Sun 7. Nearly pin high, but right of the green. She plays a floating shot up and just about holes out for eagle a la Imi Jong. Jae-min Kyung down to 4 under. That is now 4 back of the lead. She's in the sand. It was never a question of could she reach, but I don't know that even she would have thought that that was in the cards. It's a really good shot from a less than ideal location. And this is going to end up as something pretty special. Great touch. A 54-degree wedge, Moon Jung-min. It's 84 meters out. 6 meters to get up as well. No, tiptoes around the edges of the hole. I tell you, this course is very much there for the taking today with the way it's set up and the way it's playing. It has been a joy to watch. Kwon So-yeon went out with a 34. She begins her second half on the front nine. On and off the green in a hurry, stopping in the rough. Nod of approval. A good start to the first. Well, it's an anticlimactic finish to what had been a pretty dramatic setup shot. All right, that group is away. We will track their progress all the way to the 18th tee. Yongpyong Shield just off the green. She'll putt at 10. Stays a bit too straight all the way by. Two putts gets her there for the par. Right to left breaking putt. Doesn't have the speed to reach. Now we get Young for 4 under. That's a good birdie. She's definitely finding herself in a bit of a groove at the moment. Par is the score she'll take. And off we will head to Yongpyong, who follows up an eagle with the birdie, and in the blink of an eye, she is at 2 under par. Good finish, sliding the rest of the way. That ends up being a well-worked birdie for Yongpyong.
나이스 버디.
Much less dramatic one, but her approach game has been second to none today. Back on the ascendancy and closing in on the leaders. And here we go at 11. Getting the group started. Skips on through the target and rolls safely into the fairway.
골랐습니다. 샷.
Two for two up into the fairway. Been a great string of holes for Yongpyong. Well, that's a perfect 3 for 3, and number 11 has begun in earnest. Yongpyong, left to right breaking putt. She doesn't hear the rattle. And as she steps away, we see she is fractionally off to the left. Yongpyong at 15, 2 back of the lead. Four holes to find those 2 birdies. It'll be tough to bet against her at the moment. There's some serious contenders in this group. A long way from properly having that conversation, there's no doubt.
오, 오, 오.
Here we go then, just about another.
나이스. 아, 진짜 잘 쳤다.
Agonizing to come out of the sand and not quite get all the way.
잘 나왔는데, 야, 들어갈 뻔했는데.
Very, very solid effort, mind you. It's up and down for the par.
야, 그런 거 저 진짜.
This is Young's approach at 11. From the target in the fairway to her next target. Call that 3.5 meters for her birdie. Kim In-sun 7. Spins that back towards the front fringe. And Peng Chin-shil last but certainly not least. More than satisfactory. This is Soa Jean. Land softly, good and close. Yongpyong 9 iron at 15. 114, just about flat with the pin. Slight downhill. And she's going to be just a bit short. She can chip, she can putt. Kim In Sun 7, this is for 5 under. She walks it in, and not because she knew it was going down. Because she knew she was slightly off. Next up at the first tee, this is looking a little bit left. A beeline of sorts down towards those bunkers. And this is Yongpyong. Inching closer, perfectly on. 5 under inside of the top 10 now. Second time today she has rattled off back-to-back birdies. The same success found just 1 hole away. Well, that will feel like it's long overdue. She will be elated by the outcome there. Yongpyong from her position to chip or putt, she chooses the former and puts it about a foot wide. This is 13. Almost the same distance as each AM2, but on the other side of the flag. Here's the tee shot on the par 3. Very, very strong. It's tough to really attack that close to the fringe, but Yongpyong finds a way. Pengxin will be next. 159, obviously a very short hole. In fact, relative to everything else, save for number 17. Oh, in fact, it is just the longest. 134, pretty hard to believe. That's number 2. There's a reason why we're seeing some low scores today. Kim Min Sun 7 is next. That is also a very strong start. Everyone in the group firing on all cylinders. So Jean, this would take her within one. Good putt, confident putt. He is cruising right now and is knocking on the door. One back with still 3 holes to try to find a tie or the outright lead. She had a brief departure from a very strong run. About 45 minutes ago, that putt is going down without any question. Brushing off the club, clearing all that grass away. As we update the leaderboard, things are getting spicy. Jae Ming-young through 15, 6 under. So Jean through 15, 7 under. Our 3 leaders, Chae, Ban, Lee Seung-yeon, and Ko Chi-yu, all with 64s. And still a handful of holes to play. This is the McCol Mona Yongpyong Open with SBS Golf, live here from Birch Hill. Stay with us. Welcome back. Coach Yu had a wonderful start to her tournament, but there was not a shot a whole lot better than that early on. That was at 5, setting up a birdie. On 6, as the momentum was very much building. She was playing the front 9 on the way in, and those wedges and that approach game was absolutely electric. Not quite as close, but still a very manageable effort on her 15th. Making 5 birdies through 7 on the back 9. She would go up to 7 under, and then hole number 8. This is where she staked her claim to the lead, at least a portion of it. On the penultimate hole, another birdie. That front 9 was littered with them. She would par 18 to finish as one of the 3 players in with a 64. And it wasn't as though it was a walk in the park either. As she drops off the hill, we all remember, I would argue, hole number 9 and the difficulties it offered, but she did not make a mistake after that. In with a 30, out with a 34, and a very solid day. Look at that scorecard. 16 of 18 greens in regulation, only 27 putts. She only missed 3 fairways, just the 1 bogey on the round, preventing her from an astounding 63. We are 3:30 p.m. local time here at Birch Hill. Yongpyong, one of the members of our featured group, is on the par 3 12th. Really tricky putt. She needs it to move right. Stay straight as an arrow, and there will be no influencing the scorecard positively on this one. Gripped and ripped down the fairway. Exactly where she would have wanted to be. I can hear the exasperation. It's a very confusing miss, and that she would have been dead set on a birdie when she addressed it. Keeping herself there or thereabouts. Nice birdie indeed as she continues to climb. Acknowledging the par. So, Jean, Can she do it? Well, she's giving herself a really good chance to do so here. Nice setup. It's all about the execution now. Second shot down the fairway well, stopping just short of the bunker. The first shot, pardon me, of course, off the tee. Glance at the notes and a nod. Yep, that's pretty much exactly where I would have wanted to put that, she thinks. Yongpyong pitching wedge on 16, only 108 to go. She just about dunks it from the fairway as well. So, a reminder, in case you just missed it, in the top left corner, that birdie would move her within just one. And now we got Young here on the par 4. Skips that off the fairway and into the rough on the right side. JN2, the calm wind, that's about 4 feet past the pin. Well, beautiful day up here in Pyeongchang. 23 degrees and the sun and the blue skies just trying to peek through the clouds. As another weekend has begun here on the KLPGA Tour. And welcome back. On a Friday afternoon at Birch Hill, Yongpyong in the heart of her back nine, the par 4 13th, as she plays her approach but is unable to work that through the rough. Short and right. Did avoid the sand, however. So Jean looking to become the 4th player to reach the 8 under plateau. For birdie at 16, yes. What more does she have in store? Do we dare start talking about a 62? Mathematically, it's possible. This is Cho Yan, who is 1 under after 9. As more groups come through the first tee. No issues finding this 13th green with a nice approach down the hill. And Yuchen too has a bird of her own. Yongpyong for 7 under here at 16. And just hangs on nearly a full 360 degrees around. The rattle is there and the score is improved. Chanu from off the green at 15 to less than a meter away. Manages the start of the up and down, Yongpyong well.
플레이하겠습니다. 샷. 거리.
Well, the gallery liked it, and we can understand why. If that bird goes, she's at 9 under and the outright leader. So more on 17 in a moment. But first, Kim In-sun 7, 5.2 meters for 6 under. But there's a reason that only around 5% of the time this year those putts have fallen. Certainly the downhill nature of it made it all the more of a challenge. Eight iron at 7 under. This is Yongpyong next. A decent start with a putt that will be closer than what Yongpyong is facing. She went eagle birdie and has parred up until now.
Birdie.
고생하셨습니다.
Blasted with the driver, settling in nicely into the fairway. Here's Yongpyong. Only Peng Shun-chi left in the group to start. Her drive will roll out of the fairway into the rough. Chan 2 comes up just short with shot number 2. Her yellow ball just before the green. And Moon Jung-min at the 17th. 4.5 meters. This is one of every 3 of these putts in 2025 has fallen. Just long enough to make it tricky. She defies the odds and does indeed go to dash 4. Yongpyong, 2 under after 9. Muscles that past the sand trap. Some valuable experience at the big show. So Jean, 4 meters, and the lead is hers. Lots of swoop right to left. Stays true, just a bit too long. She will settle for a par and have one more go at 9 under. That was the up for Yongpyong towards the middle of that green, and rather lengthy putt for the birdie. And now Yongpyong next up at the penultimate. And she's not gonna have the speed. So close. it does take another tap. Kim In-sun 7, setting up the putt at 14 with a very good on. She'll have no gripes with that. Been a bit of a frustrating round, to be fair to her. So close, but not getting the consistency with those approaches, but that's a big step in the right direction. Kim Shi-hyun takes a step closer to the 4 players tied at 8 under with that birdie. Oh, the biggest change is Soa Jean up to 8 under par. She had a chance to take the outright lead, but settled for a par at 17. She and Jae Min-kyung both on the 18th hole, trying to create some separation from that ever-increasing pack, tied for 9th at 5 under. More from Birch Hill on this Friday afternoon on the KLPGA Tour in just a few minutes. Well, just time to reset the field as we enter our third and final hour of the opening round coverage of the McCol Mona Yongpyong Open with SBS Golf. We have 1 billion won up for grabs this week. 129 players contesting that purse. And at the moment, 4 stand above the rest. That is Ko Chi-yu, that is Soa Jin, A Sung-yeon, and Che Aebon, all on 8 under par scores. Chae Min-kyung, who is on the 18th, is level with Kang Ga-yeol, Han Shin-sun, and Cho Ah-yeon, one back of that mark. Che Ga-min, Lee Se-hee, Park Do-young, Chung Soo-yeon, Lee Ae-won, Hong Jin-young, Kim Woo-jung, Chung Yoon-ji, Kim Soo-ji, Kim Ji-soo, Chae Eun-woo, Lee Ga-young, Kim Min-sun 7, In Ju-yeon. Yes, that is 14 players at 5 under par. There are an additional 16 at 4 under, and from there another 11 at 3 under. That's your top 50. Lee Ga-young is very much in that mix, but she is not climbing based on that putt as she just sends that to the inside left. Well, a beautiful day. Very minimal wind, 1.1 meters per second. Despite the cloudy skies, a comfortable 24 degrees. My name is Adam Jenkins. Our pleasure, as always, to have you along with us here on the KLPGA Tour. Yoo-hyun Jo, that is a long-awaited birdie. She goes to 4 under after a bit of a departure from that scorching hot play that she was showing us over a span around the midway mark of her round. Now Kim Min-sun 7 downhill, really tricky putt as she tries to judge it just right. Right is the theme as her misses to the outside. Well, 2 putts gets her to her par. The spotlight is understandably illuminating Soa Jin. She was ready to drive, but a rather large, maybe golf ball sized insect had other ideas. All that talk, all that anticipation, and not the drive she would have been hoping for, but she still has a chance to rescue it. Peng-Shin Shield now at 14 for 3 under. Yes! Good birdie. Adds to her collection from 7 and 11. She is still bogey free through 14 holes. This is Chung Soo-hee, who is at 3 under at the turn. Starting the back 9, driver in hand, and the big blast, she is away.
건잘게. 나이스 버디. 나이스 버디.
Rejoining Chae Eun-woo, 119, as she sends that approach onto the green and will be a little bit closer than her group mate, but still leaving a touch to be desired. Just as is the case for Soa Jin, who comes up just before the cart path right of the fairway, 257. This is a par 5. It is only 481 meters. Let's see how brave she goes. Layup seems the play, certainly from that lie. Don't risk a good thing. Rolls that on through, and despite it not being the chance for the eagle, it's a chance for the outright lead, and that is the reasonable play here. Amy Jung on the 15th is at 3 under par. That's 5 back. Here's her approach. Sends it to the extreme left side of the green. She's the only one in the group that is on the putting surface. Oh, she has some work to do next. Speaking of next, Chae-Ming Young, 247, needs to get up 19 meters as well. She's got the wood in hand. She choked up on the club and really went for it. Reaches the end of the fairway to perfection. All right then, Kima Romi. 34 on the way out. Nod of approval and a smile as she hands off her driver to her caddy and has officially begun her back nine. Kim In-sun 7-5 under par. The drive to begin. She's into the first cut of rough. Just off the right. Now we got Young. Final quartet of holes for a featured group, this being a long one. She'll nestle into that first cut of rough as well, right on the border, and everyone's gone the same way in varying degrees of tall grass. This is the shortest grass you'll find on the course, of course, the green. 16, Chae Inu. Get over, there it is. Unsongi will check in with her next. She was short of the green after 2. She has to chip. Just a gentle pitch, rolls it through the fringe, but catches too much of it, and it zaps all the speed. Big moment this for Soa-Jin. 111 and 6 1/7 up the hill. Backspin comes in to keep her reasonably close. You can see just how uphill it is with the size of that flag. So it's visible from the fairway. We won't count her out. She'll be closer than this putt for Amy Jung. Basically from the fringe, coming back just above. Decent effort. Young is one step closer. hard to get much closer than this. Jae-Min-kyung, 7 under the setup. Up and over the tree. Bang on a dime. It stops. What an approach. Allowing this to save a par. It's going to move for us right to left. There it goes. Well judged, well executed. Avoids the bogey. Over to Kim In-sun, 7. 94 to go after the tee shot. Gentle left to right breeze at the moment. Could have used a bit more of it, I suppose, with a push. She's not the first to fall victim to the fairway here. Such a front-facing pin. The rough doesn't do her any favors either, slowing it up, needing a lot more head speed. Just like that, but then that's the other side of that coin, isn't it? If you're not almost perfectly on the fringe, you are going to go past, and I suppose it's pick your battle. I don't think Punching Shi will take much umbrage with that, though. It's Kim Si-hyun. Once again, right beside Lee Chae-in, as the backspin puts the partners in a line. Moon Jung-min, this is for a 67 in the opening round. It's 5.7 meters out. Just a bit too much movement. 68 instead of 4 under. It's a very solid start. She left a few strokes out there, most notably at 8 where she doubled. Otherwise, she would have finished just 2 strokes off the top. Certainly a performance to build on tomorrow, and hopefully for her sake into Sunday as well. Yoo-hyun Jo. Approach at 16. She goes past. The backspin helps keep her reasonably close, but I don't know that anyone in that group will be fancying birdie. So Jean certainly is to finish the day likely as the outright leader. Does it have the speed? Not quite. Well, it's hardly a dampener on what was a brilliant day. Bogey free, 5 on the way out, 3 on the way in, 8 under, and one of 4 players in the clubhouse with a 64. Is 13 meters shy. Kim In-sun 7 at the end of 15. Just a pitch. Yes, perfectly weighted, perfectly placed. You can tap in to finish that off.
Okay, nice par.
Up and down for that par. 16 is where she'll head next. It is where we find Yoo-hyun Jo. Gonna go back to back, but that would be no small feat with this distance. Break is quick, speed is quick. Just a bit too much of each. A nice finish for Jae-Min-kyung, who makes it a 5-way tie for the lead as she finds another and finds a 64. The course is designed today for the taking, but 5 players with 64s is quite the rapid start to this event. Kim Shi-hyun for a birdie to move to 5 under, but gave herself a bit too much grace to the inside left. Gets there with the par. Peng Shin-shil hoping to get to the end with a birdie, but she was pretty quick to realize that it wasn't quite aligned. Now at 17. A very bitter outcome. She bit the inside left of the cup, but we'll need at least one more putt. Nia Young secures that par. 16, 17, 18, all that's left for our featured group. More movement at the top. It's now 5 as Chae Min-kyung and Soa Jean have joined the logjam atop the leaderboard here at the Mona Yongpyong Birch Hill Country Club. We've got about 45 more minutes to go. We've got 3 more holes to go for our featured group, as our coverage of the McCol Mona Yongpyong Open with SBS Golf will resume after a quick pause. we're very much in the home stretch here in round one. And Sung-yi gets the action back underway with a less than ideal approach shot. It's a tough one. Short is bad and long is bad, which means there's very little room for the in-between. Eight iron on the par 3 70th. Kim Shi-hyun at 4 under par. Officially the pin today. 13 yards off the front of the green, 10 yards from the left side. It's a 40-yard deep green. It's a big one. That is a workable position to land. Shot at 16 off the tee, skips through the rough and into the fairway. Yoo-hyun Jo, it's a 9 iron for her. This is starting left. Tracks pretty well, distance was solid. Unsongi 8.7 to come back. Well, that's about 8.5. Good effort. And that leaves Zika Young. She's happy with it. Let's see why. That would be why. All the way down to the end of the fairway with a good look at the green coming up next. This is the green she'll be looking at. Amy Jung less than 5 meters away, 4.9 uphill, so it needs to move. She is the queen of these distances. If not for that tough stretch 3 and 4, she would be knocking at the door of the top, but a really nice recovery and is in a nice run of form as she nears the end. Kim Shi-hyun also nearing the end, 7.6 the putt for birdie. This will be downhill. I beg your pardon, a bit of a deceptive camera angle. That was indeed uphill. Giveaway was the backstroke, and the final proof was the fact that it was very slow in the final few seconds. She'll mark and prepare for the par putt. Now then, Yoo-hyun Jo. A ticket of 5 under. Not the easiest. 4.1. Really, really good putt. Into the top 10 now. She has stayed bogey-free through 17. She should be absolutely thrilled with how this first round has gone. Now we got Young. This is just a pitching wedge. It's 109. See that Pengxin Shield wasn't quite as lucky. I guess you could argue there's not much luck has to do with it, but she was short and will have a chip likely next. Kim Min Sun, her second here on the par 4. 48-degree wedge as she can go on and attack this. Still negligible wind. If anything, it might be a little left to right. And she comes in close too. Couple of letter grade A approaches. Amy Jung trying to carry this momentum on through to the final par 3 of the round. She has a 7-iron in hand. 155 yards, 142 meters. Tucks in neatly. Past Amy Jung. It's down to one tee shot for An Song-yi. It's a decent up from Pengxin Shield with very little left to do. Running that down the right side, slightly breezing in back towards the pin. It's a good approach. Just a little bit under hit. Trying to putt through that break. Taps in beside, pardon me, the flag. That is a par. Sung Eugene, been a bit of a struggle for her today, +2. This is her 73rd shot of the round. She hopes it's her last. So close, but not quite there. Well, double bogey at 3, bogey at 15, one birdie. It was at the 8th. She'll have some work to do to get this tournament back on track tomorrow to fancy making the cut. This is Ega Young for a birdie next. It looked good. Sung Eugene, by the way, tied for 121st with that 74. Well, she gets in. It's not the birdie she wanted to conclude the round. But I think there's enough positives in there to ride that momentum into tomorrow's second round. Pengxin Shield gets there with the par after a solid setup. She's onto the par 3 next. Par as well for Yongpyong.
여기 바로 오듯이 약간
Well then, we knew it was a long putt. Quick check from An Sung-hee to make sure there's nothing about this that surprises her. Kim Min-byul, after 11, she would have thought that this round was trending in a much more positive direction, but unfortunately and ultimately, a couple of bogeys on the run, and she finishes with a par. And downhill effort where speed was going to be Mi Jung's enemy. We'll take that group to 18 and we'll open up the 17th.
어, 140. 그래서 140. 120, 135 렌즈. 바로? 그냥 바로 보자. 팔콘 딱 거리 맞을 것 같아.
The debut tee shot on the 17th is Pengxin Shield. She's in the wrong corner of the green, however.
컨트롤 해야 되나? 그렇진 않지.
그렇지 않아. 8, 90%만 낮은 것 같아.
All right, that's more like it. Good plan, great execution, and a very probable birdie to come out of it. Yongpyong, last but certainly not least, with her 8-iron, she splits the difference of the first 2 tee shots, and down the hill this group will go. Well, that E-class will have to wait for one more day. Start of the final hole of the day, and it's a good start as that drive comes to a comfortable stop in the fairway. Charon 2 had something similar. Our second shot led her to this point, 89 meters out. High lofted approach, she'll get a great run. Be about 1.5 meters, 2 away from her birdie. Clearing the rough, perched up on the hill. So far, so good. Not the carry. Certainly that approach shot required at the 18th. Let's see how Yongpyong Joe will fare. 59, nice and close. She can attack. Could use a bit more in that swing. She's second from the pin. Certainly not what I would consider close.
계속 내려간 거야. 근데 우리는 끝까지 내리막은 보긴 봐야 돼. 약해질 뿐이지 내리막은 끝까지 돼.
Punishing shield 15.1 here at the par 3. From a different area code, she'll take that. Second shot is a solid one. Clears the rough and ends up in a good spot. And Sung-Yi with a nod of acknowledgement. put this in the highly likely column, but for Young, it's a chance nevertheless to move to 6 under. Here's the attempt. Get right. That's gonna fall. Into the top 10 now. 3 birdies on both the front and back, and she still has 1 hole to go to move within 1. She's been steady as ever. This could go too, you know. Couple of great putts, not the speed ultimately. So she'll settle for a par. Kim Shi-hyun 4 under, just the 1 bogey. It came at the 5th. Kim In-sun 7 downhill. It's going to inch closer and closer, but just left. Yoo-hyun Jo at 5 under. A putt for birdie at the 18th. Bit too much speed coupled with the downhill. That is not a recipe for going low. She'd have to look at a magnifying glass though to find much to critique today. She was absolutely rocketing 8-9 birdies, making some unbelievable shots. She went through a bit of a dry spell, but finishes strong. 5 under is a very respectable opening round. And EJ2 fails. Their 69th stroke. This will be 70. We can be pretty confident in how that will end up. So, let's get the 18th started. She rattles off a couple of branches and drops into the rough. She finds the humor in it. Okay, I'm allowed to have one. Some troubles as well finding the fairway. This one is to the left. Not the resounding success that they would have hoped for, but the par 5 is away. Let's flash back to 18. This is where so many tournaments have been decided, and doesn't that look familiar? Bit of a slice drive, Yongpyong into the trees. It skipped out, so provisional. I beg your pardon. So drops straight down an overhang onto the cart path, so she'd actually get some free relief from that. Ultimately, though, it set her away and would take us to a playoff. And on that playoff, the first hole of it, would you believe she went into the trees again? And would you believe she also got incredibly fortunate with where it popped out? And there are just so many ways for that to end in disaster. She probably should have bought a lotto ticket at the end of the round. I mean, in her defense, she really wouldn't need one because she'd end up winning it, defeating Che Reem in a one-hole playoff to lift the trophy. If you're curious, from there she hit a 190-yard shot from the rough to the fairway, the approach 80 yards to the green, and a 5.7-meter putt to finish it off. And would ultimately be the one holding the trophy at the end of the line. Ansongi with the good up. She will have an opportunity to birdie. We will have an opportunity to go to our final break of the evening. And after that break, and it won't be a long one, we will see our final two groups through to the end and take you through the opening round highlights. Yongpyong tied for 9th, 6 under, can move up. Kochi 1, we should flag, is at 5 under, and she's only through 12, which gives her 6 holes to find 3 strokes. That's math that even yours truly can do. All right, let's step aside. Back in a moment at Birch Hill. Just about closing time up here in Pyeongchang, the beautiful Birch Hill Country Club. 54 holes for 1,000,000,001. which makes the first round all the more pressure-packed. Yongpyong, the wily veteran, has handled that pressure oh so well, and is looking for a strong finish to what has been a very strong round. This is where this group is eventually headed. Amy Jung is away, the furthest from the pin after 3 strokes. It's 9 meters out for her birdie. She'll want to come to the inside left of the first ball marker, and then it swoops over pretty drastically, straightens out. Just didn't have the legs, so she'll tap in to end it. Mentioned it before, but it bears repeating. 3 and 4, nightmare. But from there, including an eagle, a much, much better back 9. She'll be satisfied with that score. Bungxin Shiel off to the right with her first. Caroms off the rough and into the fairway. 1, 2, 3 in a neat little line. And next up, Pak Bo Giam. Her 68th shot of the round. Really deceptive line here. Moves right, straightens out. She navigated that well. So 4 under, that's tied for 26th. She doubled the 10th and bogeyed the 8th. Otherwise, she would have been just the 1 stroke back. Back-to-back birdies to finish things off today. And Unsongi to go 1 better, 65. Pardon me, 5 under. 67. Downhill tap, it's moving left, but just hangs on. All right, just outside of the top 10. Only 1 bogey today, came at the first. And in the preceding, the succeeding 17 holes. 6 birdies found. Bungxin Shiel's still away. All clear on the green. Here she comes on the approach. 111 and 6 meters up the hill. Goes right at the pin. What a shot that is. Excellent bit of play with the wedge. That's more like it, she says. Here goes Kim Min-sun 7. A little bit deeper. She'll get a bit of help with the slope. Stays on the green. And last but certainly not least, closest to the pin, Yongpyong. Doesn't quite get the bite. And she goes from closest to furthest and will have a bit of a precarious putt. She's right, it didn't get up and down and dig in quite enough. It's such a picturesque 18th hole. Or you're envious of the drone operator. I usually am, to be fair. One of the many members of an outstanding crew, bringing some pretty incredible images to life.
마지막이랑 같이 말하고 이렇게 말하고 여기가 치면 제일 유명한 거니까.
Well, the weather great today. Not so nice, the forecast tomorrow. Not the worst, but rain. It'll keep the green soft. As long as it's reasonable, it's manageable. Sunday, we're expecting to see the sun come through after some more rain showers. We'll stay around these early to mid 20s in terms of the temperatures.
나는 끝까지 있어.
내리막 부분.
응, 있어.
Young first to attempt. Just a bit too far and a bit too much work to do. A par to finish the day. A 66. Bogey free. Almost identical. Front and back nines. Birdie to start, and one along the midway line. Midway mark, pardon me. All pars otherwise. 66 is a very, very solid start.
여기서 한번 내려오는 거 생각보다 거기 쓰는데 저 자체는 좀 쓰레기. 내리막이 좋아.
Here it comes. Kim-Min's on 7, just not quite there. Well, much like the glasses on her cap, she will look at this rose-colored. Bogey-free, 5 birdies. Very solid start to the tournament. Oh, Hung Shin-sil had the chance to end the 18 on an incredible high. A roller coaster of emotions, this 18th hole. Drive into the trees, recovered really well, perfect approach. In the end, it's just a par. 3 under, also bogey free. just couldn't get the putter to play along today, and that
민증도 올라.
brings us to a close.
잘못됐다.
So as we're near the end, let's go through the highlights. And my oh my, were there a lot of highlights today. That's how big the leaderboard looks when the round is just getting underway. There's so many players and so much volatility. Up and down, players trading places. Certainly with an eagle like that, things will move in a hurry. But approaches were the theme of the day. Eagles were plentiful, as were the birdies, and there were some very solid performers right from the starter's pistol. And a lot of the players, interestingly, that started on hole 10 and would come in through the front 9 really did some damage this morning. 8, 7, 6, 5, that's when things were still spread out, things were still early. That is a very solid up, that would lead to a birdie, of course. And here on 7, this is when the putters started to come to play. Coach Yu on her 16th hole. I think it's 5 birdies on the way in, and she was not done. There would be one more here on number 8. Up the hill, the speed was so delicate to balance, and she did it oh so well. This was still before our time, at least our portion of the broadcast. Great approach on the 18th, and a very solid way to end with a 7 under score to begin the day. We saw some great play from that group. Kangayol, Hanshin, Sun, Choyan. And just as things were looking settled for the most part, there would be a late entrant. We see Seo-jin really do some damage on the back 9, just as Chae Min-kyung had done. Even when she was in the hazard, she played some excellent golf. Of course, that would be one of 6 par 4s that she would birdie today. So Jean on the 15th would be up to 7 under. Chae Min-kyung pitching wedge on 16. And did she ever attack this pin? Grazed it. In fact, that's how accurate she had been. And that left her with about 3.5 meters. A little uphill left to right breaking putt for the birdie. She would go to 8 under par. But that would be the cap today, as we would learn. So Jean would not have any more birdies from there. Chae Min-kyung would have 1 birdie. Good spot on the fairway, up and down. 4 on the way out, 4 on the way in. And that number, well, it's a bit of a theme because we see not just 4, but 5 now. Chae Min-kyung, Seo-jin, Chae Bun, Lee Seung-yeon, and Ko Chi, all with 64s today. Choyan, Hanshin, Sun, Kang Ga-yeol end the first page of the leaderboard, but they're not without some pressure. They are tied for the 6th position. Lee Ga-young, Chae Eun-woo, In Ju-yeon, and company. They are tied for 9th. Yoo Hyun-jo headlines the list of players at T13 that stretches all the way down to Ko Ji-won, Cho Rim, and Kim Soo-ji. Imi Jung was very solid in spells. If not for a couple of bogeys back-to-back, she'd be even further up the list. Chun Ye-sung and Kwon So-yeon both still out on the course, both coming in on the front. They are tied for 28th at the minute. Eugenia, Hung Yeon-so at that score as well. Hung Min Jung, Park Young-young, the defending champ, 69s for them. just inside of the top 50. Pang Jina, the amateur, still playing as well. She is 3 under after 16 holes. Kimara Mi, we saw a little bit from her. She still has 5 to go and is at 3 under par. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for day number 1. You can set your alarms and mark your calendars for the same time tomorrow. It will be a 2 p.m. local time start here at Birch Hill. But it's time to say farewell for this Friday. Our sincere pleasure to bring this broadcast to you, this opening round of the McCol Mona Yongpyong Open with SBS Golf. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for more on the KLPGA Tour. So long.